ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकाय चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। So today it's a great fortune to be having the opportunity to discuss the glories of Lord Balaram on the occasion of his appearance day, and we will try to today understand Lord Balaram's personality and role by looking at key incidents in his life. So generally speaking, when we want to know someone, we spend time with them, we talk with them. That's one way we get to know them. But another thing is when we get to see them in different situations, in different roles. That is when we get to know them more and more. So we will focus on two main dynamics. Every person plays multiple roles and has relationship with multiple people. But we'll focus on, say, Krishna is here and Balaram is here. So while Krishna and Balaram are the same, we'll see how they are different. And say, we are here. So we'll talk about Krishna's relationship with Balram, and in one sense Balram's relationship with us, or what is there for us to learn about Lord Balram and for us to understand how we need to act in our lives. So of course, while we are discussing this, let's first understand in this relationship, in the relationship between Krishna and Balaram, they have a particular flavor. They are brothers. So while brothers means they primarily come in Sakya ras, but that is not the only ras that they act in. So Balram plays various roles, and he also acts in Dasya ras. It is he who manifests as Anantashesh, the bed on which the Lord appears. So that is all there, but we will focus not so much on the technical classification of which rasa he manifests when, but the essential principle of rasa is the flavor, the mellow, the sweetness of the relationship. And we look at the various moods and roles in which Balramji relates with Krishna. And then for us, in our relationship with Balramji, he is primarily the Guru. He is the Guru-tattva. He is the person who is the link between us and Krishna. So we will try to understand when he is playing this role and when his actions are primarily in terms of his relationship with Krishna, and when they are a combination of both. So sometimes, say, when two senior devotees are having some discussion, Now we might be present over there and we might get to hear certain things. But those things are not meant primarily for us. So sometimes the two senior devotees might do a public podcast where they are having a discussion which is also meant to be heard by others. But when two of them are talking primarily, now we may hear it if we happen to be there. But if it's a private discussion, then it's not meant for everyone. It may not be relevant to everyone. It may not be applicable to everyone. So like that, there are some pastimes of Balramji which are much more confidential and which are guhya. And there are some which are much more universal. Now the word confidential, the Sanskrit word is guhya for this. Now guhya is Sanskrit words are very difficult actually to translate into English. Now there are two ways of translating this, secret or private. So while the two seem similar, there is a significant difference between the two of them. Secret actually means that which is not to be told to anyone. But private means that which is not relevant. So for example, say some ceremony is going on in a home and say the husband is talking with some guests who have come and the wife needs to talk something with the husband. So she may come to the husband and say, can I have a private moment with you? Can I talk with you something privately? Now it may not be secret, but it is just not relevant to everyone else. So guhya is used more in the sense of private than secret. It is not that Krishna wants to hide something in the sense of deliberately keeping it as secret. But it is just that it is not relevant for those who are not involved in this. So Krishna often talks about things which are relevant for those who have entered into his world of love. And those who have not yet entered into the world of love, for them many things may not be relevant. So, broadly speaking, the pastimes of Balaram in relationship with Krishna, they can be divided into two broad parts. One is in Vrindavan and the other is outside Vrindavan. Now outside Vrindavan, they happen at multiple places. There is in Kurukshetra, there is in Dwarka, there is in other places also. That's why I broadly call it that outside Vrindavan. And the mood of Balram in relationship with Krishna is very different inside and outside Vrindavan. Just as the mood of Krishna himself is different in Vrindavan and outside Vrindavan. So we will focus initially on the pastimes in Vrindavan. Now, while Krishna and Balaram have an age gap between them, and the exact narrative of how Balram is born itself is a little involved. I won't go into that. It's quite a remarkable story about how exactly he appears. So, but the point is that Balram is older to Krishna. Sometimes if two siblings are twins, then one of them may be born just maybe 10 seconds or 1 minute earlier than the other. But that sibling who is born 1 minute earlier say, I am the elder sibling. They often have that tendency, that not necessarily pride, but that sense of identity. So now that is very much there throughout the Vraja dealings. That Balram is seen always as the more responsible child. And Krishna is seen as the more mischievous child. Not irresponsible, but mischievous. So, however, when they are growing up, it is described that the difference between the two of them is not so prominent initially. So, that's why I said there's a mystery over there. If we look at it in terms of the appearance days, it's just about 6-7 days difference. Now, technically, some acharyas say there's actually 1 year difference, which makes sense because at one level, there is a difference between their ages, but when they grow up, it's almost as if they are growing up together. Their namakaran also happens together. So, in some ways, the age gap is not that much between them. So, I won't go into that part because that will be a whole class in itself. But essentially, there is an age difference, but in their growing up, they grow up very similar. So, their name giving happens together, and then when they live together, they stay in the crutches next to each other. And when the child is growing up, it's fascinating that how children start understanding the world around them. Now, of course, the Lord is omniscient and he doesn't need to understand anything. But when he's playing a Leela, at that time, he also goes through those particular flavors and those particular moods and behaviors. So when they are both growing up, at that time, when that namakaran is done. See, in the developmental psychology of a child, when does a child actually identify itself with its name? Isn't it? We may say this is the name of the child, but the child is too small to understand this is my name. So what happens is, the child is lying in a room, and then as soon as the door opens, then the child looks, okay, what is this? Has somebody come over here? Initially the child may not also be aware. But initially what happens is, although they are given the name Krishna and Balaram, he is sometimes referred to, especially in the Bhagavatam, he is referred to by Ram primarily, more often than Balaram in the Sanskrit. So Krishna and Ram. So initially when they are called, Mother Yashoda comes and says, Krishna, how are you? Krishna. And when she says Krishna, both of them turn their heads. And when Rohini comes and says Ram, both of them turn their heads. Because they have not yet identified that, oh, this is Krishna is my name and Ram is their name. And then both of them turn their head, and then both of them are expecting that they'll come. And then she says Krishna, and Ram is also expecting, he comes and picks up Krishna. And when Ram is called, Krishna is also expecting, but she comes and picks up Rama. Then slowly they start understanding. Oh, Krishna is my name and Ram is his name. So, that way, right from childhood, they are extremely close to each other. And sometimes we may grow in the same neighborhood, and our houses may, some friend and house may be close to each other. So while Krishna and Balram, they grow in the same house, and they are almost like twins. Like twins grow up together. The age gap and everything is not much different. Their whole upbringing is very similar. So like that, for Krishna and Balaram, both of them grow up almost as if they are like twins. They have separate mothers, so obviously they are not twins. But they grow up like that. And then as they are growing up, in the early childhood, especially in the 10th canto, it is focused on Krishna. So Krishna's pastimes are described more and more. So for example, Krishna is the target of Putana. Krishna is the target for Trunavart. All these demons come. And quite often, the emotions, say, of Yashoda are described. Yashoda is so horrified. When she just keeps Krishna down for a moment, and a storm comes, and Krishna disappeared. Where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? She's in anxiety. Now if a child is lost, mother will be in great anxiety. And if the child is found, normally the mother will be free from anxiety. But she says, where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? And then the Brajavasi is also searching, and one of the Brajavasi says, he's up there. And she sees Krishna high up, and the demon holding him, her anxiety goes further higher. It shoots up. So her emotions are described at this time. But most of the time, Balram's emotions are not described over there. So it is because the childhood pastimes, the early childhood pastimes, the Kaumar and before that is all associated with primarily the Vatsalya Bhav. So Balram's role starts coming in a little later, when the Pauganda, the age between 5 to 10 comes up. So still Balram is very much there in the childhood also. So for example, when they decide that, okay, in Gokul, there's a lot of danger. So we have to move out of Gokul. And they decide to go to Vrindavan from there. So the Vrajvasis are concerned, and it is not a small distance, and they have to relocate their entire home and rebuild things, transfer things, so that they all use bullock carts for that purpose. So in Vrindavan there are no chariots. Chariots come, the first chariot that comes in Vrindavan is the chariot of Akrura. At least the first means the first that comes after Krishna is born. So they use bullock carts and move forward. And Krishna and Balaram, they sit on their mother's laps on tall bullock carts. So because they are, just like there may be many chariots, but some chariots are more majestic than others. Mahati Syandane Sthitau, it is described about the chariot on which Krishna and Arjuna were situated. So like that, when the Vrajavasis are traveling, then Krishna and Balaram, both of them are sitting with their mothers on a chariot, on their mother's lap, but they're not a chariot, on a bullock cart. That bullock cart is the highest among all the bullock carts. So Krishna and Balaram, both of them are enjoying. This is the first time in their life, actually they have gone outdoors. So they have gone out in the sense that they play outside the home. Like when a newborn baby is there, parents are a little careful about taking the child outside. They will take it out very carefully so the child is not exposed to danger. Now Krishna has been taken by Trunavad, Krishna has been taken by Putana initially. But otherwise, they have not gone out so much. So Krishna is extremely curious. Hey, what is this bird, Mama? What is this tree? What is this thing happening over there? What is this over there? And Krishna is asking, and Mother Yashoda is answering, and Rohini is wondering, why is Balram not asking anything? So Balram is simply watching. Balram is smiling. So Balram, right from his childhood, is more like the wise elder. He's also listening to what Krishna is asking and what Mother Yashoda is replying. So naturally, if there are two children, there's always a little comparison. Parents say that I love all my children equally, but it doesn't work like that. We may, in terms of emotions, there's always a little more attraction, a little less attraction. In terms of dedication, the parents may be dedicated to each child, all the children, but there is a slight difference. So now, naturally, Mother Yashoda's affection is for Krishna, Devaki's affection is for Balram. But they both care for each other. So, when two siblings are growing up, if two twins are growing up, then the distinctiveness in their personality, what is the difference? Parents also have to evaluate it. How do we identify? Otherwise, for new people, if the twins are identical, it's very difficult to identify. So then we have to look at the personality. Sometimes the physical features will be very similar. In Krishna and Balram, the physical features are different, but their natures also are significantly different. So now, as they are growing up, when they come from Gokul to Vrindavan, in the Kaumara Leela, that is the time when Balram's role starts becoming a little more significant. Initially, Mother Yashoda says that Krishna, I cannot let Krishna go out. So he says, even at home, there are so many demons over here. If I let Krishna go out, how many dangers will be there? The world is filled with so many dangers. I cannot let Krishna go out. Now Krishna is eager to go out, and Nanda Maharaj also is on Krishna's side. Small children, they may be small, but they're not always innocent. So, okay, they're innocent, but they also are intelligent. So, small kids soon learn, what to ask their mother and what to ask their father. And they know what things the mother will say yes to, and then they will first ask the mother, and the father will have to go along because the father doesn't want to go against the mother. And what thing the father will say yes to, they will ask the father first. And then the mother will have to reluctantly say yes because the father has said yes. So, Krishna asks Nanda Baba, I want to go out, I want to take care of the cows. I want to do what you are doing. And that is what Nanda Maharaj wants his son to do. He wants his son to become responsible. That is their profession. He wants him to learn it. And he's happy. Yes, you can do that. And Krishna is so happy. Krishna hugs Nanda Baba. And he goes away. And then Nanda Baba thinks, why is he so happy? Okay. And then he thinks, oh, he's up to something now. So then, Krishna comes back. Will you please tell Yashodamai also that I will be going with you? Oh, then Nanda Baba understands. So the Maharaj says, no. So Yashodamai says, no, he cannot go. And then Krishna is very upset. No, you promised me I'll go. All my friends have started going. How can I not go? Then Nanda Baba has to think what to do. He's trying to pacify Yashodamai, but her concerns are there and real. In one sense, becoming a parent means, especially as a mother, it's like anxiety is a part of the job description itself. There is always anxiety about the well-being of the child. So there Nanda Baba says, actually, there is what Yashodamai feels is, this child, sometimes this child goes into danger and sometimes danger comes to the child. So it's both ways. So dangers will come, but this child is also mischievous. And because this child is mischievous, child goes into danger. If danger comes, we can't do anything about it. But what we can do is at least ensure that the child doesn't go into danger. So therefore, then Nanda Baba says that, Ram is very responsible. So, if Ram will go out, he will take care of Krishna. And Krishna, you should listen to your brother. Now, Krishna says immediately, yes. Now, Krishna is going to do what he is going to do. But, he says yes. And so, it is because Yashodamai trusts Balram. She lets Krishna go. See, there is a difference between love and trust. While they are similar, there is love and there is trust. There are many people whom we may trust, but that does not necessarily mean we love them. Like, if we are going to do some surgery, we trust the doctor. But that does not mean we love the doctor. On the other hand, say parents love their children. But does that mean the parents trust the children? Not necessarily. If the child is small, the child is not yet, you can't say it's untrustworthy, he's not yet grown up enough to be trustworthy. The children are not going to give the parents are not going to give key to the treasury or give some money to the children in large quantities. So there is a slight difference between love and trust. It is significant. So Mother Yashoda loves Krishna, but she trusts Balaram. So that trustworthiness of Balram is what helps Krishna to get out of the home. And now Balram also feels a sense of responsibility. That because Mother Yashoda is trusting, she always has to keep an eye on Krishna. And while Krishna knows that Balram is keeping an eye on me, but Krishna also knows that Balram is also fun-loving. So, initially, the first time, when Krishna decides to steal butter, Balram says, what are you doing? You should be stealing butter. He says, come on, don't be such a spoil sport. Let's steal butter. He says, no, you should not be doing this. So, but then, now it's one thing, Krishna has been stealing butter in their own homes. And if it's in one's own home, you can't even call it as stealing butter really. It's taken from your own home only. But when Krishna goes outdoors and starts stealing butter from outdoors, from somebody else's home, that is Balram, you say, you can't do that. Come on. Come on. He says, don't be such a... So Krishna says, come. Somehow reluctantly Balram comes along. And when they go and they steal butter, they have to sneak in without anyone be seeing, and then they eat the butter and they see monkeys are coming and they give the butter to the monkeys. And then they run away. And then Krishna says to Balram, wasn't that fun? Now Balram is also a child. He's the elder brother, but he's still the child. He wants to say yes and he also wants to say no. Because if he says no, then he won't be able to have that fun. And it was fun going around and stealing butter. But if he says yes, then Krishna will do it all the more. And maybe Krishna will do it without him. And he's supposed to keep Krishna in check. So it is the nature of Krishna that Krishna enjoys and puts everyone in tension. So Krishna has his fun, especially in Vrindavan Leela. It is very rare that Krishna is in anxiety. That is one of the differences between, say, Krishna in Vrindavan and Krishna in the world. Normally in the world, people who are in anxiety go to God and God frees them from anxiety. But in Vrindavan, it is Krishna puts everyone into anxiety. So it is normally people pray to God. In Vrindavan, people pray for God. They pray that Krishna should not get into some trouble. If Krishna gets into some trouble, then someone should protect him. That he should be protected. So like Krishna is here and there is danger. So sometimes danger comes to Krishna, sometimes Krishna goes into danger. And the Vrajvasis are praying, let Krishna be protected. So Balram is caught in between. See, danger also means some fun. So should I have the fun or should I be protective? So this is how Krishna has that special relationship with Balramji. And now in Vrindavan, what is Balramji known by? Name? Dauji. Yes, Dauji is the elder brother. So Krishna is called a Dauji ka bhaiya, Krishna Kanhaiya, as we say. So then as they are growing up, now there are some pastimes in which Balram plays a more prominent role than others. We will not just go into a list of the pastimes. We are trying to focus on understanding that relationship. Now most of the Vrindavan pastimes, there is not much for us to learn. These are to relish. See, it's sometimes we have some life lessons from Ramayana. I have written the books like that. Other devotees also written. Life lessons from the Bhagavatam. Now, it's very difficult to draw life lessons from Krishna Leela in Vrindavan. The only life lesson is, we have to give up this life and go into that life. Isn't it? That is so supremely enjoyable. Because it's more playful. Of course, we can draw life lessons, but it's more that sweetness of the relationship between Krishna and his devotees there. And that sweetness is meant to draw our heart to him. So now as Krishna is growing in Vrindavan, there are various pastimes which he does. If you see Krishna's pastimes, in Krishna Leela, it is primarily with three characters. One is with the demons, the other is with the Vrajavasis, and the third is with the Devatas. Broadly three characters, three kinds of characters. Now Kaliya is a demon. Kaliya is not a demon sent by Kamsa. He is a resident demon. He is not a guest demon. He is a resident demon. But there are broadly these three kinds of characters with whom Krishna is interacting. Now, generally speaking, when Krishna is interacting with the Devatas, say in Brahma Vimohan Leela or in Govardhan Leela, in none of these, Balram plays a very prominent role. But let's see the flavor in which Balram is acting. So, if we consider in Brahma Vimohan Leela, what does Krishna do? Krishna expands himself as the gopas and the cows, which Brahma has stolen away. And now on that day, it is Balram's birthday. So it's today only, that particular day. So that's why Balram has not gone. So in one sense, going out into the forest is like play. But in another sense, it is also like work. So on that day, Rohini says, no, you should not go. You should give charity to the Brahmanas. You should stay at home, you should be decorated, you should be bathed. So Balram doesn't go. And that's why what Krishna has done, Balram doesn't know. So now Krishna can act in such a way. So this shows that actually Krishna can make an illusion that can even take in Balram. So Balram, he represents the Guru-tattva. He is the person closest to Krishna. But even that person can be deceived. So this is while Balram and Krishna are non-different, Krishna does emphasize his supreme position. Just like in the Mohini Murti Leela, Lord Shiva is considered Dhirottama. He is the most sober person and he cannot be bewildered by anyone. And yet Mohini Murti bewilders him. So Balramji cannot be bewildered by anyone. But even Balram is bewildered here. And then still when he sees at one particular time how much the cows are feeling irresistible attraction towards their cows. The cows, we know that pastime. And the gopas are with the cows on top of the hill and Krishna with the cows is going below the hill. And the cows suddenly start running toward their cows. And they're running with such force. Normally cows are not very fierce or strong or disruptive creatures. And the cowherd men are trained to restrain the cows. But at this particular point, they're just not able to restrain. And the cows run toward the cows and offer the milk. This is an unusual thing. But this unusual thing for the gopas, so what which is unusual for the gopas, it is frustrating. But for Balaram, it is illuminating. It is thought-provoking. Hey, what's happening? And he starts thinking and he says, oh, okay, this is actually Krishna who has expanded. So, Krishna sometimes takes in Balaram also into his illusion. Sometimes he tells Balaram what he's going to do, sometimes he doesn't tell what he's going to do. So this is where in this particular pastime, Balram understands it before everyone else. But that's how Krishna acts. Now especially Krishna has relationships with everyone. Even with the gopas when he's playing, Balram is the elder and Balram is the authority. But it's like Balram is the authority, but Balram lets Krishna be the center. So actually Nanda Maharaj is the third among the 5 brothers who are there, and the eldest brother is Upananda. And he is expected to be the next king. But Upananda says that actually Nanda, he is the most capable. So let him be the king. So similarly, Balaram, so what Upananda does to Nanda, so Balaram does to Krishna. Balaram is elder, but Balaram lets Krishna be in the center. And Krishna, of course, naturally attractive, he is naturally the center of everything. So now, but because Balram is the elder brother, sometimes there is some tension. So every day, now as Krishna starts growing a little older, then the Purva Bhava. Purva Bhava is the affection between the gopis and Krishna before they come to puberty. Before they actually start experiencing Madhurya Bhav. So that is called as Purva Bhav. So, just like when boys and girls, when they're small children, they might just play with each other. But as they grow older, as they come into their teens, then that awareness starts coming up. And then some level of gender separation is required. So, when the Purva Bhav starts awakening, so now Krishna and the gopis are both of them are attracted to each other. But it is a traditional conservative society. So, Krishna and gopis cannot freely interact with each other. So, every day when Krishna goes out, at that time, all of Vrindavan comes out to see Krishna. So, the elder gopas and gopis come out of their homes and they follow Krishna. The younger gopis go up to the terraces of their homes. Most of the houses in Vrindavan are like one story. So there's ground and there's upper story. They go up there and from there they're beholding Krishna. And everybody keeps following Krishna with their eyes. Till Krishna just becomes a speck in the horizon and disappears. And normally there are different ways in which leadership and responsibility is shown. So for example, a Kshatriya who is leading an army should be in front to show the courage and give confidence. But a cowherd who is taking care of cows has to be behind. Because from behind you can see which cow is going where. Now Krishna stays the last. He's the last because he wants to take care of every single cow. And Balram is with Krishna. So, Dina Parikshaye, as the gopis say, at the end of the day, when Krishna and Balram come back. So all the cows come and before the cows start coming, a dust cloud starts rising. And just by the rising of the dust cloud, the Vrajvasis understand, now Krishna is coming. And they're eager and waiting. And with the dust cloud in the cows, they get a little glimpse of Krishna. And Krishna comes closer and closer. Now, as they enter, now how it is, if we consider Vrindavan, that Vrindavan has multiple meanings. It's like, at one level, Vrindavan is the village. But in another level, Vrindavan is also the forest, which is much bigger. And there are 12 forests in Vrindavan. So now, say they go out, and this is the path for going out and coming in. So Nanda Maharaj's home is right in the center. It is at the center of the village. So when Krishna comes back, so all the gopis, the younger gopis, all the homes that are there along the way, even if it is not their home, they go to their friends' homes. And they are watching from there, eagerly waiting for Krishna to come. Now what happens is, when Krishna and Balram are coming, so now as they come in, they enter into the village. The cows initially when in the forest, they want to go here, they go there, and they have to be pulled backwards. They have to be pulled or pushed to make sure that they are on the path. But once they come into the village, then the cows also become eager. We want to go to our mothers. So they start running. And as they start running, they start going faster inside. And now Balram is also eager. Let's go home. And then our mothers will have made some food for us. We'll take a bath. We'll take food. So Balram wants to go very quickly. And suddenly Krishna starts going very slowly. And Balram says to Krishna, Krishna, come on, let's go faster. And Krishna says, I'm tired. I can't go fast. If you want, you can go ahead. Sure, let's go quickly now. No, you go ahead. And then Balram goes ahead. And when Balram goes ahead, then Krishna feels liberated. Why liberated? Then Krishna can look at all the gopis on the terraces. With Balram as the elder brother, Krishna feels restrained. I cannot look at them. So there the gopis offer the love of their hearts to Krishna through their eyes. And Krishna offers the love of his heart to to the gopis through his glances. And that's why twice in the Gopi Geet, the gopis refer to Krishna's love-filled glances. That Viharanam chate, no, it says Prema Vikshanam. So Ikshanam is to look at, but Vikshanam is like a side glance. So So Krishna, because it's a traditional society, Krishna cannot just stare at the gopis. So Krishna often offers side glances to the gopis. And those side glances are very endearing for the gopis. So they say, these side glances, they conquer our heart. So Balram has his various roles to play. And now, sometimes Krishna arranges, even for his devotees, to be, in some ways, play some role that acts like an obstacle. So the whole arrangement of Parkiras is so that there is greater intensity in the excitement of love. So generally, if there is a movie in which, say, the hero and the heroine meet, and they meet and nobody opposes them, there is no villain, there is no family opposition, there is no circumstances misunderstanding, just meet and they sing and dance and then they live happily ever after. Well, none of the audience will be happy. Why? Because if there is, it will just be boring. See, generally, if there is no tension, then there is no attention. Normally, there has to be some tension. Say, if you are hearing a class and you already know what is the next point that is going to be spoken. Maybe you heard that from that devotee many times and the devotee keeps giving the same class at different times. Then it becomes boring. But when there is tension, some excitement, I don't know what is going to happen next. Then there is excitement, there is attention. So sometimes Krishna arranges for his devotees to play roles that are slightly opposed. So when there is tension, then there is attention. So they say Jatila and Kutila, they are playing that role primarily. Jatila and Kutila are, they are living in Raval and they are the part of Radharani's family afterwards. So they oppose, and so the point over here is that Balram also plays that role sometimes, not knowingly, not intentionally, but unknowingly. So that's his interaction with the Vrajvasi. So I said that Krishna has interactions with three of these characters. So I talked about how he's interacting, he's plays some role in Devatas, how with Vrajvasis. Now there is one particular demon with whom Krishna, in the interactions with him, Balram plays a prominent role. Who is that? Dhenukasura. Dhenukasura Bhanjana. It is described that. It is, Dhenukasura is primarily killed by Balramji. Now Krishna also is there. Krishna is killing some subordinate demons. So there are some times when Balramji also becomes the center in dealing with the demons. But most of the times it is Krishna who is doing these things. Now, as they are moving forward, when Akrura comes, that is the time of big transition for them. Now when they go, Krishna promises the gopis, I will come back. And Krishna has full intention of coming back. But then, what happens is that the Yadus, they tell Krishna, you killed Kamsa, but there is, they actually use 3-4 different lines of argument. First they say, you belong to us. It was the 8th son of Vasudeva who was supposed to kill Kamsa, and you killed Kamsa. Therefore, you are actually son of Vasudeva. And Krishna says, no, I belong to Nanda Mahal and Yashoda. They are my parents. So now, of course, Krishna plays Leela over there. But Krishna says, I need to go back to them. He says, no. You are their son. And then they say, actually, that particular argument, sometimes when we want to persuade someone, we use multiple arguments. And then when we are listening, we are speaking and they are listening, then we are also observing which argument they are listening to, which argument is registering, and then we may elaborate on that argument. So then they say, Krishna, you killed Kamsa, you protected us from one danger, but you have put us in double danger now. There are friends of Kamsa who will come to revenge, and there are enemies of Kamsa, those whom Kamsa has persecuted in the past. Now they will come to plunder the kingdom. So you have to stay here. And that is the argument which Krishna cannot refuse. So now, in one sense, Krishna is God. But in another sense, Krishna is just a 10-year-old child over here. And suddenly he's taken out from one home, from everything that he knows, and he just has to stay at another place. And at that time, what happens is the Vrajavasis are so close to him. Those are the people he has grown up with. Those are the people whom he knows, whom he loves. And the Yadus are, at least in the narrative as given by Jiva Goswami in the Gopal Champu, it's almost like the non-Vrajavasis, especially the Yadus, they are cast as slightly like villains. Because every drama needs some people who are opposite. They're not villains, but they are cast like villains. And what happens is, they are very afraid that Krishna should not go back to Vrindavan. And that is why they strongly disapprove whenever Krishna starts talking about Vrindavan. And children are very impressionable. And Nanda Maharaj also told Krishna that, no, respect Vasudeva. And respect Vasudeva just like you respect me and follow him. And that means also respect those who are connected with Vasudeva. So Krishna just cannot speak about Vrindavan to anyone. The only constant in his life at that time is Balaram. Now of course Rohini also comes back, but she's older, and when she tries, so initially Krishna and Balram are together, and Krishna pours his heart out to Balram. He says, I long to be in Vrindavan, I want to talk about the Vrajavasis, but I can't talk with anyone. So Krishna and Balram, now they are in the royal assembly, they are in the royal palaces, so they have separate rooms to stay in. But Krishna and Balram stay together. And they come together, they stay together, and Krishna pours his heart out to Balram. And Balram consoles Krishna. Now the Yadus are not so worried about Balram, because it's known from the beginning that Balram is the son of Vasudeva. He was temporarily given for caretaking to Rohini, was sent there, and Rohini is known to be Balram's wife. So her son is obviously, Rohini is known to be Balram's mother, Vasudeva's wife. So her son belongs to the Yadus. So now Balram tries to console. When Vasudeva sees that Krishna is respecting Devaki, but a child, a small 10-year-old child is suddenly told, this is not your mother, this is your mother. Treat her like your mother. Krishna respects Devaki, but he is just not able to call her and deal with her like a mother. So Vasudeva sees that, and Vasudeva says, let's call Rohini back. At least there will be someone more familiar. And Rohini maybe can tell us, Krishna will be comfortable with her, and then maybe Krishna will start connecting with us more. So Rohini comes back, and when Rohini comes, Krishna and Balram, both of them run, and they hug her legs, and they start pouring out their hearts. And then Rohini says, I'll talk with the Yadus. And she tries to tell them how much the Vrajavasis love Krishna and how much Krishna loves the Vrajavasis. And the Yadus start saying, on whose side are you? You went to Vrindavan, what did the Vrajavasis do? Do they feed you with such milk sweet that you forget whose side you are on? And they start chastising her only. And when that starts happening, Rohini says, I cannot do anything now. So then Krishna and Balram alone are together. And then, when Vasudeva sees that, okay, Krishna and Balram are growing up, he says, let's send them to the Gurukul now. And then when they leave Mathura, when they come to the Guru's ashram, now Guru's ashram is in a forest. And for Krishna and Balram, being in a forest is reminding them of Vrindavan. See, sometimes people say being spiritual means they have to live in villages. It's not like that. Even in Krishna Lila, there are rural places and there are urban places. Mathura is a proper city, and Vrindavan is a village. So Krishna grew up. So the important thing is, what are we doing in a rural place or an urban place? And the Pandavas convert a forest into a flourishing metropolis. And that is considered to be the mercy of Krishna. That is Indraprastha from Khanda. But the point is that for Krishna, when they go in a forested area, that reminds them of Vrindavan. And Krishna and Balram, they attend their classes, they learn everything. But after that, now in the Gurukul is not like a big place. They have small quarters and they stay together. And Krishna and Balram, they hug each other. And Krishna, they talk about Vrindavan and how the places in the Gurukula reminding them of Vrindavan. And Jiva Goswami says both of them bathe each other in their tears. Krishna is in tears and Balram also is in tears. So this is the time when they, in one sense, come closest to each other. They are in a new place, and they're in a new place is they're trying to develop a relationship with their guru, with other students over there. But they have shared memories, they have a shared past. And so from Vrindavan, which is a long time, they are Mathura for a relatively short time. And after that, they come to the Guru's ashram. Where is the Guru's ashram? Which place is his ashram? Avanti. Avanti is Ujjain, now modern day Ujjain. So there, Krishna and Balram, their bond becomes the closest. Now, till this point, they have not really taken up any significant royal responsibilities. Krishna and Balram both fight against Chamur and Mushtik and the whole set of demons, but they have not taken up royal responsibilities. Then, after that, they come back to Mathura, and there are many dangers, and Krishna protects Mathura Vasis from all the dangers, especially from one demon who seems to attack many times. Who is that? Jarasandha. And then Krishna takes a drastic decision. Krishna says that these demons are coming again and again, we're protecting them, but now Krishna wants to ensure that the Yadus don't need him or depend on him constantly for protection. So Krishna is growing up, Krishna is recognizing that I have to take responsibilities across many places. So it's like if somebody becomes the Prime Minister of the country, then initially they have to be there to make sure things are moving forward. Somebody becomes the president of a temple, they have to be there to make sure things are moving. But Prabhupada said the best management is where everything is going forward, everything is running smoothly, and the manager doesn't have to be running here and there. So if the manager is running everything here and there, nothing is running smoothly, that is a terrible management. But the best is where systems are made in place. So Krishna decides that I need to have a system in place for the protection of the Yadus. I cannot be here constantly for them. And to have a system in place, he decides to change the place itself. He takes them, he shifts the entire Yadus and their everything from Mathura to Dwarka. And this is an extraordinary move in one sense, because Dwarka is far away from all other places. It's said to be like an island in the ocean, and an island can offer extraordinary protection. Generally, whenever attacks are to be done, if there is land, the passageway from the land, then it's relatively easy to go. That's why, although Ravana was so powerful, Ravana knew that I have made enemies everywhere, and he decided he could have conquered any place. He could have made his kingdom in Swarga also. Now he chose Kuvera. Kuvera had the place called Lanka. Now he chose it because it was prosperous, but also because it is an island, so that he would be safe. He could go around and cause danger to everyone, but nobody, when he came back, nobody would cause danger to him, or so he thought. Now he didn't figure out that somebody would build a bridge and go all the way. So something which is like protected by an island, protected like an island with no direct access way by land, that is very safe. And that's one of the reasons that among all the Europeans, there was always a tussle for power. Britain rose to power because it is an island. It's very difficult for other powers to attack. And that's one of the reasons why America is so powerful. It's very difficult for anyone to attack America, because it's surrounded by oceans from all sides. So anyway, so Krishna made a very strategically sound decision. And after that, only once, while in Vrindavan demons were coming constantly, while outside Vrindavan there were invaders coming constantly, but in Dwarka there was only one major attack. Which was that? There's a demon named Shalva. He came and he had got an airplane by worshipping Lord Shiva, and by that only he was able to attack. Otherwise, they were safe over there. Now, when they were safe, so I will talk about three key incidents, because we could go on into a lot more in detail, but I'll focus on three incidents to illustrate how Balramji's roles vary. So, one of the puzzling things about Balram, let's first complete the Vrindavan part, and then we'll move on to other things. So, now while Krishna is in Mathura, the Vrajavasis are never far away from his mind. And he still has hopes that I'll go back to Vrindavan. But Krishna doesn't go back, nor do the Vrajavasis come to meet him, because Krishna wants to protect the Vrajavasis. So he tells Nanda Maharaj, initially when he decides to stay in Mathura, that we have to act as if we have no relationship with each other. As if Vrindavan was just a place where I went to stay because my father was in danger. But I didn't develop any bonds in Vrindavan. And that way, my enemies won't target you. If they come to know how close you are to me, then they will naturally target you. Like when Ravan wanted to target Ram, get back at Ram for having killed Kharadushan and his entire regiment and for having disfigured Churpanka, what did Ravan do? He targeted Sita, because he thought Ram and Sita are very close to each other. So like that, Krishna was concerned that the demons will target the Vrajavasis. And that's why Krishna said, there will be no contact between us. I will not come there, you will not come here. And even when messengers had to be sent, Nanda Maharaj would send messengers with some sweets and some gifts, they had to be disguised. They should not be seen as Vrajavasis. So, but the Vrajavasis were very much in the mind of Krishna. And Krishna couldn't go back till all the demons were killed. Or especially those demons who were primarily targeting him. They were killed. And that's why Krishna couldn't go back. The Vrajavasis were always in his mind. So while he was in Mathura, he sent one person to give a message to the Vrajavasis. Who was that? Uddhava. And Uddhava gave a message of expressing Krishna's love for the Vrajavasis. That's a whole beautiful story. And Uddhava said, Krishna will come soon. Krishna has promised. And now soon is a very indefinite word. Soon can mean 1 minute, soon can mean 1 hour, soon can mean 1 year. So Uddhava is asking Krishna, Krishna, I promised the Vrajavasis that you are going to come back soon. When are you going to go? Krishna says, I want to go, but I can't. I can't because I don't want to bring danger to the Vrajavasis. So then, because Uddhava is so concerned, Krishna is also concerned. So Krishna says, Uddhava, can you go again and give a message that I am going to come soon? Uddhava says, last time only they were so displeased with me. Now I will have zero credibility with them. They see me only, they will get angry. You are a liar. Previously only what Radharani had spoken indirectly is to Uddhava is, she was speaking to a bumblebee, but she was actually speaking to Uddhava. You are the unreliable servant of an unreliable master. So they say they are already suspecting my loyalty. So now they don't want to listen to me. Then whom can we send? And then immediately Krishna and Uddhava both look at Balram. And they say, Balram, he says, you are the elder brother. You have authority. If you go and tell, then they will accept it. So, now this backstory is not told in the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam. It said Balram suddenly gets a desire. Balram desires to go to Vrindavan and he leaves for Vrindavan. That's how it is described. And it is true, it is Krishna's desire, it is also Balram's desire. So, when Balram goes to Vrindavan, now the Yadus also don't oppose Balram going because they have no fear that Balram may stay there forever. They have a fear that if Krishna goes to Vrindavan, Yad Gatva Nanivartante. He will go there, he will never come back. So then, Balram goes to convey the love of Krishna to the Vrajavasis. And that's one of the most intimate services. See, normally we can send as a messenger anyone, we can just send a letter. But if we send a person as a messenger, then there is a gravity to that. And normally if somebody goes as a messenger, going as a messenger is not a very big thing. Messenger job is not a very big job. It's an important job, but it's not a very big job. You won't generally send a person who is elder to you as a messenger. So, when later on Krishna will go as the Shanti Dut, he will go with the peace proposal. That just shows the gravity of the peace proposal that is being offered. Similarly, when Balaram goes over here, now because Balram is elder, Krishna does not give a written message. He tells Balram, you just convey to the Vrajavasis. Now Balram goes there and Balram, he talks about Krishna, tells about Krishna's wonderful pastimes. And now here there is something much more that has happened, which is going to cause further concern to the Vrajavasis. Because the news of Krishna's adventures keeps trickling to Vrindavan after some time, but keeps trickling to Vrindavan. So first Balram gets married. And Balram is known to be a Kshatriya, so he'll go get married to a Kshatrayani. That's expected. But when Balram gets married, Nanda Maharaj's heart starts quaking. Yashoda Mai's heart starts quaking. Whom will Krishna marry? If Krishna marries a Kshatriya princess, that means Krishna is acknowledging or Krishna is accepting that I am a Kshatriya. If Krishna comes back to Vrindavan and marries one of the gopis in Vrindavan or marries the gopis, then Krishna will accept that. Krishna is accepting that he belongs to us. He is one among us. So the Vrajavasis are worried. And then what happens? Krishna doesn't just marry, Krishna marries 16,108 queens. And then with each news of Krishna's marriage, it's like there is joy, but there is agony. That is getting married, it's wonderful. But the more he is married, the more queens he has, there is less chance that he will come back to us. So the Vrajavasis, especially the gopis, are very despondent. The Vrajavasis in general are despondent because, Krishna belongs to Vrindavan, does not belong to Vrindavan. That's what essentially he is saying. And the gopis are especially despondent. So then, when Balram has to come back and he has to convey a message, so it's a very difficult situation. Krishna's actions seem to be showing as if he doesn't care for the Vrajavasis at all. And his actions are saying something opposite. How does he tell the Vrajavasis that Krishna loves you and Krishna loves you more than anything else? So, it's a very difficult task. And it is Balaram who performs that task. So, now of course Balram has his gopis in Vrindavan also. And he performs Ras Leela with those gopis. And in Krishna Leela it is described that there are two ways in Madhurya Ras Krishna Leela is enjoyed. So there are the gopis who perform Madhurya Ras pastimes with Krishna and the manjaris who observe the pastimes. So now the gopis, when Balram is performing Ras Leela with his gopis, Krishna's gopis get to experience the Manjari Bhav. So the gopis perform pastimes, the Manjaris observe pastimes. And the Manjari Bhav is sometimes considered higher because the gopis love Krishna and the gopis also love those whom Krishna loves. So what happens is, say if you are watching a movie, then how much we enjoy the movie depends on how much we can identify with the characters. If all the characters are behaving in such strange ways and the characters are so strange that we can't identify with any character, then the movie starts becoming boring. Yes, we can't connect with it. And the more characters we can identify with, the more we get immersed in the movie. See, if the villain is completely dark and black and bad, then we don't identify with the villain at all. We only want that villain should be beaten up and destroyed. But if the villain also has a backstory where the villain is also a good person who has become bad, then why the villain is doing what is doing, we also understand that, we can identify with that. So the point is that the more characters we can identify with in a movie, the more we get immersed in the movie. So what happens is, when say Krishna is having pastimes with Radharani, so when the Manjaris are there, the Manjaris observe. So the Manjaris, because they are female and Radharani is female, they can identify with Radharani or with the gopis. But because they love Krishna so much, they can identify with Krishna also. So they identify with both. And that's why they can experience the love and the joy of Krishna Leela from both perspectives. And so the gopis, they enjoy pastimes with Krishna, but when Balram comes, they get to experience the Manjari Bhav over there. And in that way, Balram gives to the gopis something very special. So the gopis are seeing Balram, but they are remembering Krishna. And they experience, that's how the gopis are satisfied when Balram comes there and Balram performs pastimes. And then Balram stays there for 2 months and then he departs. And then when he departs, so that is one key role that he plays. So we will just take 1 or 2 more pastimes now. One major source of confusion is Balram's relationship with Duryodhan. So here there are many incidents in it, but the seeds of that are sown in Vrindavan itself. Like say, Balram sometimes plays a slightly adversarial role. I mean, Krishna wants to be looking at the gopis and beholding them, and they are beholding him. Balram is seen as a slight obstacle. So Balram plays that particular role. So Balram's relationship with Duryodhan on one side and Balram's relationship with Krishna on the other side. So how do we understand this? So the idea here is that there are many ways to understand this, but I'll just focus on some of those ways. So I'll talk about it in one sense from the perspective of Krishna's relationship with Balram, and another perspective is Balram's relationship with Duryodhan. So now when Krishna and Balram are there, they are together, but there is a Viryaras. Viryaras means that sometimes somebody opposes Krishna. Like Bhishma shooting arrows at Krishna is said to be in Viryaras. And those who oppose Krishna, they also give some pleasure to Krishna by their opposition. So Balram plays that role of opposing Krishna. And in that way, by opposing Krishna, he in one sense gives Krishna an opportunity to clarify and elaborate on the rationale for his actions. So now Krishna is friends with Arjuna. So what happens is, we'll talk about 3 incidents in that particular dynamic. One is with Subhadra, then the second is with like before the war, and the last will be at the end of the war. So now with respect to Subhadra's wedding, or before that her marriage is to be decided with whom. So Balram has developed some affection for Duryodhan. Now we may say, why would Balram develop affection for Duryodhan? So at one level, it is his causeless compassion on Duryodhan. At another level, Duryodhan is also, he may be evil, but he is not necessarily foolish. Now, Duryodhan has the capacity to endear himself to others. So that's how he gets Karna on his side. So he gives Karna a kingdom when he needs him, and Karna feels so grateful. And he says, what can I do for you? You have saved my honor in my time of need. And what does Duryodhan say? Duryodhan doesn't say, I want you to fight for me when I am in need. Duryodhan speaks words that conquer Karna's heart at that time. He says, I don't want anything from you except your friendship. And anyway, the dil jeet liya tumne. So, like that, Karna is knocked out. He's not only giving me such honor, but he's treating me like a friend and he wants me as his friend. See, at this point, Karna is an unknown person who has almost like gate crashed into the exhibition, martial exhibition. And Duryodhan is one of the central persons. He's the prince. So that key person, say, if we are coming for a program, there's one among hundreds of people sitting, and then the speaker recognizes, oh, welcome to this program. Then it's like, it's very special to be noticed. So like that, Karna is given special attention and Duryodhan wins him over. So Duryodhan has those smarts. Now of course, Balram cannot be deceived. But Balram, as a part of his Leela to serve Krishna through Viryaras, he opposes him. So he develops a relationship with Duryodhan. And he even teaches Duryodhan how to fight with a mace. So, now when this happens, at that particular time, Balram wants Subhadra to be married to Duryodhan. And Krishna wants Subhadra to be married to Arjuna. Now of course Arjuna comes over there and Arjuna and Subhadra, they meet each other. So they all, are you able to hear me behind? Okay. So Subhadra, so they also develop a affection for each other. And then Krishna tells Arjuna, this is quite a radical thing. It's like a brother telling somebody to abduct his sister and take her away. So Krishna does that for many reasons. He sees that Subhadra is actually, she likes Arjuna much more than Duryodhan. And also he wants. See, Krishna is God and Krishna can exhibit his omnipotence. And he can protect Arjuna. But at a practical level, Krishna wants to support Arjuna. Krishna wants Arjuna to have alliances. He wants the Pandavas to become stronger. And if a wedding happens, then, and especially of a princess like Subhadra, then the bond between the Yadus and the Pandava side will become very strong. So Krishna does that. And initially Balram is upset. And Balram says, we will go and punish Arjuna. How dare he do this? And Krishna gives various reasons. And finally Krishna says, actually you saw, Arjuna did not abduct Subhadra. It was Subhadra who was actually driving the chariot. Is it? Arjuna was fighting, Subhadra was driving the chariot. So Subhadra wanted to go with it. So then Balram, he accepts it. Not reluctantly, but he accepts it. Now, when Draupadi is dishonored, at that time, that is the time when Shalya is attacking Dwarka. So what happens is Krishna and Balram are both there for the Rajasuya Yajna. And then after that they leave. They leave because Shalya is attacking over here. Not Shalya, Shalva. So he's attacking and they defend Dwarka. And during that time, the whole gambling match happens and the Pandavas lose everything. And then Duryodhan, so then Balram and Krishna come to meet the Pandavas in the forest. And both of them are enraged. How dare something like this be done to the Pandavas and especially to Draupadi. And then they console Draupadi. Krishna especially consoles her. And Krishna stays with the Pandavas for some time. Balram, because he has a relationship with Duryodhan, he says, I'll go and meet Duryodhan. How could he have done something like this? The Pandavas are hoping that Balram will make Duryodhan see sense. But after their Vanvas gets over, and then everybody meets again at Virat, where Abhimanyu is going to marry Uttara. So at that time, when they are thinking of what to do, so Balram speaks. And Balram says, Yudhishthir, you have to be a little humble. Actually, the situation, your exile and what happened to Draupadi, it is ultimately your fault. It is you who gambled. Nobody forced you to gamble. Nobody forced you to put her on the stake. You put her on the stake, and it is you who got her into trouble. So, it is not that virtue is on your side over here. The Pandavas are dismayed to hear this. And they realize that Duryodhana has been at work. Now, Duryodhana has been telling his side of the story. See, the Pandavas are in the forest, and the forest they are disconnected from the rest of the world. But whatever has happened, Duryodhana has been meeting people, he has been meeting Balram, he has been meeting others, and he is telling his side of the story. And that's how he is able to get 11 Akshahunis on his side. It is not that everybody who comes on his side is an evil person. So this actually shows the importance of telling, or the necessity of telling our side of the story. Just because we are right does not mean that everybody will believe we are right. But who tells their side of the story? That is very important. In today's world, the word is used narrative. Now, what is the narrative going on in mainstream society? So, bad things may be done to us, but if the narrative is different, then what happens is, we will be thought of as, no, we are not, bad things not happening to us, we are only doing bad things. So the mainstream narrative in the media today is that the majority will always do bad things because the majority has power. And the minorities will always be persecuted. And so the minorities need to be protected from the majority. So minorities are always virtuous, the majority is always vicious. And that's why when some bad thing is done by the minority, that is downplayed. And the bad thing is done by the majority, that is highlighted all the time. So now we can complain about this, but complaining is not of much use. We have to acknowledge this is the way it is, and we have to correct the narrative. So we have to tell our side of the story, and that's why to some extent social media plays a big role. The mainstream media is more or less bought, and they always tell the leftist narrative only. But the alternative media can help us tell the alternative narrative. But the point is that we can say Balarama cannot be bewildered, but Balarama is playing a role over here. In the Leela he's showing, we'll talk about it from a transcendental perspective eventually. But Balram is showing through his actions how, if we are not telling our side of the story, then even respected people may buy into the other side of the story. When I was in America, I met several American devotees, and serious devotees, very dedicated. I was stunned by the questions they were asking me. At least 3-4 devotees in America and 2-3 devotees in UK, the local means English devotees, they are saying that, how fanatical India is becoming. Says first a mosque was destroyed, and then on top of that a temple is built, and everybody is celebrating that. And even the Prime Minister of India is going and celebrating that. So it's a whole celebration of intolerance. So I said, but you all know it was the Supreme Court which proved that the mosque was built on top of a temple. A temple was destroyed. Said, that happened in the medieval time. That happened hundreds of years ago. This mosque was destroyed just a few decades ago. So they say, what happened hundreds of years ago? We can't keep correcting that. Otherwise, we will always be replaying the revenge of the past. So such things should not be happening in modern times. So what happens is the emotional investment is not there. And the way, some devotee showed me the articles in New York Times or Washington Post or Guardian, the way they have built an argument, it says is, first of all, this Ramayana, all this is mythology. So because it's a mythology, you cannot associate with geography. Now even if you associate with geography, what is the evidence that the place you actually consider now is the place which is the actual place where that incident occurred? And on top of that, even if it were the place, what is the evidence that this is the place where Ram appeared? There are so many temples, and you're just claiming that this is the temple where Ram appeared. And this is just an excuse by which hundreds and hundreds of mosques will in future be destroyed and temples will be built over there. So now the reality is, I showed those devotees that there are 8 mosques around the Ram temple in the nearby premises, and even when the Ram temple, when the agitation was at its peak, those mullahs, those who are the leaders of the mosque, they said nobody threatened our mosques. Nobody threatened our mosques. They have been worshipping and they have been still allowed to worship. So we got a lot, the government got a lot of land, but without breaking any other mosques. And even the mosque that was broken, the government itself gave land, another place to build a mosque. And that mosque could also have been built by this time. But the Muslims decided that we want to make this the biggest mosque in all of India. First they wanted to make it the biggest mosque in the world. Now they're saying we want to make it the biggest mosque in India. And nobody is opposing them for that. But because they want to make it the biggest mosque, they need a lot of funds. And because they need a lot of funds, that's why that mosque has not been built. So my point is that if we don't give our side of the story, now from an American's perspective, it does make sense to them. A mosque was destroyed and you're celebrating the destruction of the... Basically we say we are celebrating the building of a temple. But what they think is it's a destruction of a mosque. And on top of that you're building something. So how narratives come up, I knew about it. But when people who might think are devotees, they are asking these questions, I was quite taken aback. So there are many reasons for this, but this is the power of narrative. And it's very important for us to be telling our side of the story. So anyway, moving forward, so this is how Balram plays a role. He plays a role, the adversarial role by which Krishna gets to clarify. Krishna gets to emphasize. So at that time, Krishna states, he says that Yudhishthir was actually pressured into playing the match. And even if he take Draupadi, what they did to Draupadi, even maids, even slaves are to be treated with respect. And this is when Megasthenes was an associate of Megasthenes or Yunse Sang or many people who came to India. Megasthenes came with, he wrote a book called Indica. He came with Alexander. Yuan Sang was a Chinese traveler, he came. Now they observed the caste system. But they said that what we call as Varnashram, everybody was respected. Everybody in their place had respect. So even servants need to be respected. So even if Yudhishthira was wrong in gambling Draupadi, but that does not justify what Duryodhan and all of them did with Draupadi. Even a maid is not to be dishonored in this way. So Krishna spoke in the defense. And in this way, what happens is Balram, by speaking these things, gives Krishna the opportunity to speak and correct the narrative. So I'll just conclude with one last point. What does Duryodhan's love for his affection for Duryodhan convey? Sorry, Balram's affection for Duryodhan convey. This is the only point I'll make about. I said that we'll be talking about Balram in relationship with Krishna and Balram in relationship with us. So that is Balram in the role of a guru. So the guru can be causelessly compassionate. Sometimes the guru may give special mercy to someone, even when they don't deserve the mercy in one sense. So it is like Mahaprabhu made Rupa and Sanatan. They wanted to surrender. He said, no, not now, later. Raghunath Goswami wanted to surrender. He faced so many obstacles. He said, later. He had to struggle. So these were eminently worthy candidates and Mahaprabhu made them wait. But Mahaprabhu gave his mercy to Jagai and Madai very quickly. When he was going on South India tour, North India tour, he just embraced people. Sthan na dekhi patra. Would just give his mercy to everyone. So sometimes the Lord will give mercy even to the unworthy. And sometimes the Lord may make even the worthy wait for mercy. That's the way he works. So the Lord is always reciprocal. But although he is reciprocal, just because he is reciprocal does not mean that it is proportional. That means we cannot say that I have done this much service, so Krishna, you have to give me this much mercy. And this person has not done this much service. Krishna, how are you giving more mercy to that person? No, Krishna is reciprocal, but so we do something, we come towards Krishna, Krishna will reveal himself to us. But it's not mathematical, it's not proportional. Or how much mercy Krishna may give to whom, that may vary from person to person. So to illustrate this about the mercy of God, there is a story how employer landowner employs some laborers. And when they employ the laborers, some people start working from the morning, and the landowner goes to a market and he says there are some poor people, they are completely desolate. In the afternoon he goes, so he says, you come and work for me. And they start working in the second half of the day. And at the end of the day, when it's time to pay, the master gives the same pay to everyone. And those who have been working from the morning, they say, this is unfair. He says, they worked only half of what we did, and why are you paying paying them so much? So the master says, that's none of your business. What you were promised, I have paid you that. How much I pay to someone else, that is between me and them. So the master pays them that much because he sees they are poor and they need that. So this story comes in various places, but it's currently most famously associated with the teachings of Jesus. But it's like an anecdotal tale which comes many places. So the point is that the Lord's mercy is in that sense causeless. Now the word causeless is often misunderstood. Now causeless is not, there is no cause. What causeless means? The cause is less. What it means is that whatever we do, we may do something to attract the mercy, but what we do is never enough for the mercy. So the example is given of begging. If somebody begs for alms and somebody gives alms, so now one person might beg 10 times and somebody might give them alms, another person might just beg once and they might give alms. But the begging does not earn the right for the alms. So whether it is begging 1 time or 10 times, that cause is always less for the alms, the charity that is being given. So in that sense, the cause is always less. So Balram demonstrates that causeless mercy. That although Duryodhan does not deserve it, but Balram gives the mercy. Now the important thing is, this is a very important principle. In the Upanishads and other places say that Yasya Deve Tatha Guru. That just as we have Guru in Shraddha in Guru, we have to have Shraddha in Krishna. Tasyaite Katite Yartha Prakashante Mahatmana. So now Duryodhan shows a very significant example of there is a bond between him and Guru, but there is no bond between him and Krishna. So what happens in such situations? If somebody is somehow attached to the Guru, or the Guru is attached to them, whichever is, Guru is not attached, but the Guru is affectionate to them, but that person never develops affection for Krishna, then what happens to them? So actually, Yasya Prasadat Bhagavad Prasada we say. But if somebody doesn't want Bhagavad Prasad, only wants Yasya Prasad only, then what happens? Then that's where personality cults start happening. Now in this case, that does not happen. Balram is simply giving. He's not expecting from Duryodhan. Balram keeps supporting Duryodhan. But if he not only doesn't become attached to Krishna, he constantly keeps going against Krishna. He keeps trying to harm Krishna's devotees. And eventually, Krishna arranges through Duryodhana, through Bhima, to have Duryodhan killed. Even in seemingly ways that are illegal. And Balram becomes angry at that time. And then Krishna defends Bhima for what he has done. And he said, okay, you are considering this is what he has done wrong, but consider the history of all the wrongs that the Pandavas have done throughout. Yesterday evening we had a youth meeting where the whole topic was, are the Pandavas, both Pandavas did wrong things, Kauravas did wrong things. But does that both of them are equal? The world of difference between the wrongs. So Krishna defends. So sometimes Krishna defends Bhima and he punishes Duryodhana. So the point is that sometimes the spiritual master may just seem to give a lot of time to someone, and spiritual master may just be affectionate to someone. The Prabhupada would give a lot of time sometimes to some life members. And Prabhupada would sometimes be very affectionate towards some devotees. And sometimes some of those devotees still left the movement. And Prabhupada would give them blessings, Prabhupada would give them empowerment, Prabhupada would give them roles and responsibilities, sometimes they would still leave. So how can that happen? That if there is no reciprocation, we cannot disconnect the Guru from Krishna. So if that happens, if somebody just connects with the Guru and is not even connecting with the Guru, actually Duryodhan is using the Guru in one sense. Now it's Balram's causeless mercy that he lets himself, lets Duryodhan connect with him even at that level. But if someone does not connect with Krishna, or rather somebody alienates Krishna, then that person will ultimately be doomed. So Guru's mercy is very important. But Guru's mercy is for what purpose? That's important to understand. Guru's mercy is so that we can become Krishna conscious, so that we can connect with Krishna. One devotee in America, he asked me that, we say this is Krishna consciousness, but I feel it is only Guru consciousness. Because when you wake up in the morning and come for Mangalarti, we are having a song about the Guru. Again, Guru Puja is a song about the Guru. He said, there are no songs about Krishna at all. I said, the Narsimharti is there, but yeah, it's not about Krishna. So I told him, Vibhavari Shesha we have in some temples, we have various songs. But he said, it's not about Krishna. But then I told him, look at what is the content of the Guru Puja. It is all about how the Guru is devoted to Krishna. We are not glorifying the Guru independently. So the idea is, while it is Samsara Davanal, it is not so much worship of the Guru, it is more a remembrance of the model of how we would like to become. That this is, we start our day with a remembrance of the ideal that we aspire to become. How the Guru in every way is immersed in Krishna. So somebody may bond with the Guru, but if that bond with the Guru doesn't translate into a bond with Krishna, then that's not very auspicious. And somebody uses the bond with Guru to stay against Krishna or to go against Krishna, then that person will be doomed. So Balram's mercy is very powerful. If it can come to somebody unworthy like Duryodhan also, then if somebody is worthy, that mercy will come so much more. So that mercy of Balramji is manifest to us through Srila Prabhupada. In the Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition, before Srila Prabhupada, primarily there would be Gaur Gadadhar deities. So Gaura is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Gadadhar is Radharani. Prabhupada primarily started manifesting, or he started worshipping Gaura Nitai. Prabhupada said that Gadadhar is Radharani, and see, what happens is, it is said that we have various stages of bhakti. We have Vaidhi Bhakti, then we have Raga Anuga Bhakti, then we have Bhava and Prema Bhakti. So it is said in Vaidhi Bhakti, it is Balaram as the Guru who guides us. And from the Raga Anuga stage onwards, it is we enter into the association of Radharani. In the spiritual world, if we are in the Manjari Bhav, we are guided by Radharani. So, prior to Bhaktivedanta Thakur, most Gaudiya Vaishnavas would worship in the Sahaj Samadhi and all those more internal moods of remembrance. So, in that mood, Gaura Gadadhar is much more appropriate. But because Sahajiyaism was becoming so rampant, so Bhaktivedanta Thakur downplayed that. He said, yeah, the Raga Marga is for us to worship. We don't imitate that right now. We don't prematurely rush into that. So for us, when we are primarily going through the stage of Anartha Nivritti, we need the guidance of Balramji. We can't rush into the internal pastimes that Krishna does with Radharani. So Prabhupada gave great emphasis. Even Vrindavan, we have Radha Shyam Sundar, but Prabhupada established Krishna Balaram in the center. That is, the idea is, of course, it's Raman Reti, that is the place where Krishna Balaram performed his pastime, but also Prabhupada wanted us that we want Guru and Krishna together. That the Guru will take us toward Krishna, and Balramji representing Guru is very important for us in our lives. So let us all pray to Balramji that he attract our heart to him on this sacred day of his appearance day, and beyond him, or rather through his blessings, our heart may also become attracted to Krishna. This way, Guru Krishna Prasade Paye Bhakti Lata Bij. So we got that Bij. Let's hope that it can flourish and become the Prema Lata, the Prema Phala, that the fruit of love of God will become more and more accessible to us. So I'll quickly summarize. We discussed 5 main points. We are talking about the Krishna Balram relationship primarily. I talked about how their relationship in Vrindavan. Within that, I talked about their relationship with each other, how they grew up together, and how Balram enabled Krishna to come out of Vrindavan. At home, he was the protector, he was the guardian. Then we talked about his role in the relationship with the Devatas, how he was put in Moha, but he was the first to come out of Moha. Then we talked about his relationship in the Madhurya Bhav also, how Krishna, he plays some opposing roles slightly. And then we talked about with the demons, how sometimes he is also the hero. And then we talked about, actually all this you can say is one point, was all about Vrindavan. Then we talked about outside Vrindavan, that Krishna, Balaram, they came close to each other in remembering Vrindavan together. And then I talked about how Balram, he gave the Manjari Bhav experience to the Krishna gopis. And in that way, he gave them some special reciprocation. And then he gave them something which even Krishna did not give. Krishna could not give. That way he consoled them. And then with respect to Krishna, so Balram and Duryodhan, that particular relationship, we discussed from the rasa perspective, it is, he is offering Virya Ras, but from the Guru perspective, he is demonstrating causeless mercy. But how? We cannot have love for Guru without love for Krishna. So, Guru's mercy without Krishna's mercy does not work. We need to, if we get Guru's mercy, that should inspire us to connect with Krishna. But otherwise, it will not work for us. So, thank you very much. Shri Balram Ji ki. Balram Avirbhav Maha Mahotsav ki. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Thank you very much.